This is No You Not News. Now, talking about Latin America, Colombia's $14 month minimum wage hike is most significant in 25 years. Colombia's government has started a $14 month minimum wage hike as the most significant in 25 years. The government of President Ivan Duque decreed a 6% increase in minimum wage that will go from $239 a month to $253 a month in 2019. The government decided on the wage hike after employers and labor unions were unable to come to agreement as per usual. The labor unions initially demanded a 12% wage hike and wouldn't agree to an increase lower than 7%. The government said that the wage hike was the highest in 25 years, arguing that the increase is 2.73 percentage points higher than 2018's projected inflation. Fact-checking website Colombia Check dubbed the government's claim questionable after consulting several economists. According to the website, there are multiple ways to calculate the real increase in minimum wage, and the Duque administration picked the most convenient one. Furthermore, the inflation rate of 2018 has yet to be defined, and the impact of other price increases like taxes have yet to become visible. One of the consulted economists would tell the website. When comparing the minimum wage hikes with the inflation of the same year, the website found that in the highest real minimum wage increase took place in 1999, when the hike was 6.77 percentage points higher.
Commerce Secretary Wilbur Ross, the U.S. is still miles and miles from a trade deal with China. Commerce Secretary Wilbur Ross said Thursday the U.S. is still miles and miles from a trade deal with China. Frankly, that shouldn't be too surprising, Ross said in a interview. The U.S. and China have lots of issues. He continued, and the Trump administration will need to create structural reforms and penalties in order to resume normal trade relations with Beijing. We would like to make a deal, but it has to be a deal that will work for both parties, he said. We're miles and miles from getting a resolution. Ross listing the sticking points, starting with what he calls American interlateral big trade deficit with China. That deficit ballooned to $323.3 billion in 2018. According to Chinese government figures released earlier this month, the worst imbalance on record dating to 2006. The other problem is the future that the 2025 plan. We have to try to dominate world high-tech industries. We have to protect that, Ross stated. The third area is American companies doing business in China should have market access.
Also, the IMF predicts 10 million% inflation for Venezuela in 2019. The International Monetary Fund, in its World Economic Outlook report for 2018-19 released Tuesday, forecast that Venezuela would have an inflation rate of 10 million% in 2019, and that the country's economy would contract by 18% this year and 5% next year. It also pointed out inflation would close the year at 1,370,000%, following the IMF's calculation in July that it would be 1 million%. Venezuela's hyperinflation is expected to worsen rapidly, fueled by monetary financing of large fiscal deficits and loss of confidence in the currency, the report said. In April, the IMF predicted an inflation rate of almost 14,000% in Venezuela for this year and a falling GDP of 15%, making its fifth year in recession. In Tuesday's report, the IMF said that the Venezuelan government in August cut 5 zeros of the bolivar and gave it the name of sovereign. These changes were some of the measures promoted by President Nicolas Maduro. to alleviate the crisis affecting the country, which entered into hyperinflation a year ago. The IMF's unemployment projections for Venezuela point at a rate of 34.3% in 2018 and 39% for 2019, higher than the 27.1% recorded last year.
Colombia divided. Thousands march against terrorism as others stay home in protest against war. Thousands of Colombia hit the streets on Sunday to march against terrorism, while many stayed in to protest against President Ivan Duque's decision to end peace talks with ELN rebels. Terrorist attack took 21 lives in Bogota on Thursday, and Duque's subsequent announcement he would end peace talks with the guerrillas. He blamed for the attack half-dependent divisions in Colombia's society. The division caused tension in Bogota and Medellin between supporters of the president and anti-war activists taking part in the march. Former President and Nobel Peace Prize laureate Juan Manuel Santos was booed by supporters of his political rival, controversial former President Álvaro Uribe, in the capital. In Medellin, a stronghold of the so-called Uribistas, an anti-war activist that took part in the march was
In the indicators, we have the US dollar, which increased its value from 3,146.14 pesos to 3,160.52 pesos. The UVR, which translates to real value unity, maintained almost in the same position from 261.04 pesos to 261.06 pesos. The DTF, which translates into rate for fixed term deposits, hold its value in 4.56%. The coffee price, measured by dollar per pound, increased its value from 1.04 US dollars to 1.05 US dollars. The minimum wage increased its value 6% from 2018, which results in 828,116 pesos in 2019. And finally, the WTI oil increased its price from 52.94 US dollars to 53.04 US dollars.